King Von allegedly dropped $100,000 to have FBG Duck killed, then celebrated with matching chains for his crew. YNW Melly murdered his own best friends and turned the whole thing into a chart-topping hit. Bloodhound Lil Jeff claimed 11 bodies before getting sprayed up himself.
Lil Jeff came out of nowhere, actually. Like, I didn't know who he was until he jumped on the screen and he was like, I got 8 bodies.
And believe it or not, these aren't even the worst ones. In this video, we're breaking down the most dangerous rappers in the world. Let's get into it. King Von. King Von wasn't just rapping about the streets. He was actively painting them red with blood. Born Davon Bennett in Chicago's ruthless O Block, Von's reputation as one of the deadliest rappers came not from his platinum plaques, but from the bodies that allegedly dropped by his hands. Police documents from 2021 name Von as the killer of 17-year-old Gakira K.I. Barnes in April 2014. Barnes was no innocent victim. She was a reputed Gangster Disciples member linked to multiple murders herself. But when she crossed paths with Von, witnesses reported seeing a hooded figure pump 9 shots into her body. The streets knew who pulled that trigger, even if the courts couldn't prove it. The killing that really put Von's name in the headlines involved his associate DeAndre Fields being indicted for the 2017 murder of rival rapper G Money. But the real twist came when FBI documents revealed that Von had allegedly put up a $100,000 hit on FBG Duck in 2020. A confidential informant claimed Von initially offered $50,000, then raised it to $100,000 for Duck's murder. When Duck was gunned down in August 2020, Von allegedly celebrated by buying chains for O Block members. Von's violent reputation was so notorious that a 2023 YouTube documentary alleged he was responsible for up to 10 murders, earning him the title Rap's First Serial Killer. The documentary faced immediate backlash and was removed, then re-uploaded, highlighting how even in death, Von's violent legacy continues to spark controversy. But Von's deadliest moment came on November 6, 2020, outside an Atlanta hookah lounge. A confrontation with associates of Quando Rondo escalated into a gunfight that left Von and another man dead. Timothy Lil Tim Leaks was charged with Von's murder but was released in August 2023 under Georgia's Stand Your Ground law.
King Von is one of the only few demons we done seen die who professed out of his mouth. The Bible says what's in your heart, it go come out of your mouth. He said, I'm a demon, man, I'm on demon time. So he one of the only demons.
Von's music told the stories of his alleged victims with chilling detail. Tracks like Took Her to the O and Crazy Story weren't just entertainment, they were allegedly confessions, wrapped in beats. His ability to transform real violence into compelling narratives made him both a talented storyteller and one of rap's most dangerous figures. Lil Durk. Lil Durk's journey from Chicago's South Side to Grammy winner took a deadly detour that landed him in federal custody facing life imprisonment. This ain't about his melodic flow or his chart success. This is about how Durk allegedly turned his Only the Family collective into a murder-for-hire operation. In October 2024, federal authorities arrested Durk on charges of conspiracy to commit murder for hire. The charges stem from an August 2022 shooting in Los Angeles that was meant to kill Quando Rondo in retaliation for King Von's death. Instead, the bullets found Rondo's cousin, Saviaya Robinson, killing an innocent man. Court documents revealed that Durk allegedly paid associates, offering money and music opportunities to carry out the plot. Flights and rental cars were funded by a credit card tied to OTF, showing how his music empire allegedly financed street executions. But Durk's deadly reputation goes beyond that one hit. Prosecutors have alleged that he put out bounties for multiple killings, including targeting individuals linked to his brother's 2021 murder. They also suggest he may be linked to the January 2022 murder of Stefan Mack, a leader of the Smashville Gangster Disciples, though Chicago authorities haven't filed charges in that case. Prosecutors describe OTF as both a record label and a gang faction that engages in murder and assault at Durk's direction. This dual nature allegedly allowed Durk to use his music platform to recruit killers and finance their operations.
Boy, they get your ass and they put a hole on you. Boy, booty be tight and sitting on that bench. Now, all y'all who said my time coming for saying King Von.
Durk is currently detained without bail at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles, awaiting trial scheduled for October 14, 2025. Multiple attempts to secure his release have been denied, with judges citing his influence, resources, and flight risk. He was even found violating jail rules by using 13 other inmates' phone accounts for calls, showing his reach extends even behind bars. YNW Melly. YNW Melly turned his closest friends into victims, making him one of rap's most chilling killers. Born Jamel Maurice Demons in Florida, Melly's rise to fame with Murder on My Mind was overshadowed by the fact that he allegedly lived out the violence he rapped about. On October 26, 2018, Melly allegedly shot and killed Anthony Williams, YNW Sackchaser, and Christopher Thomas Jr., YNW Juvie, inside a Jeep Compass. These weren't rival gang members or enemies. They were his friends, his crew, his brothers. Prosecutors alleged that Melly and his associate Cortland Henry, YNW Bortland, staged the crime scene to appear as a drive-by shooting. The cold calculation of the murders is what makes them so deadly. Surveillance footage and forensic evidence suggested the shots came from inside the vehicle, not from an external drive-by. Melly didn't just kill his friends, he tried to cover it up by making it look like they were all victims together. His first trial in 2023 ended in a mistrial due to a hung jury, with jurors reportedly voting 9-3 in favor of conviction on lesser manslaughter charges. A juror accused another of being explosive and manipulative, shouting homophobic slurs, which influenced the deadlock. A retrial is scheduled for September 25, 2025, but Melly's deadly reputation extends beyond the double murder. At age 16, he was arrested for firing shots near Vero Beach High School in 2015, serving a year in juvenile detention for aggravated assault. In 2017, he violated probation, spending several months in jail. He was also linked to the shooting death of a deputy's friend in 2018, though not directly charged. Prosecutors allege Melly is a member of the Bloods gang, specifically the G-Shine set, presenting evidence such as his tattoos, social media posts, and associations with known gang members. In 2023, they charged him with witness tampering, alleging he used fellow Bloods gang members to ensure a key witness did not testify against him. Tay-K. Tay-K turned his fugitive status into a platinum single, but his deadly reputation comes from the two murders that put him behind bars for life. Born Tamor Trayvon McIntyre, Tay-K's brief but violent criminal spree between 2016 and 2017 left two people dead and changed the trajectory of his life forever. In July 2016, Tay-K participated in a home invasion in Mansfield, Texas, that resulted in the death of 19-year-old Ethan Walker. Although he didn't pull the trigger, Tay-K was convicted in 2019 of murder and 3 counts of aggravated robbery for his role in planning and participating in the crime. He was sentenced to 55 years in prison, with the possibility of parole after serving half the term. But it was while he was a fugitive that Tay-K's deadliest moment occurred. After cutting his ankle monitor and fleeing in March 2017, he was linked to the April 2017 murder of 23-year-old photographer Mark Anthony Saldivar in San Antonio. During a robbery attempt at a Chick-fil-A parking lot, Saldivar was shot and killed. In 2025, Tay-K was convicted of murder and sentenced to 80 years, to be served concurrently with his previous sentence. While still on the run in May 2017, Tay-K allegedly assaulted and robbed 65-year-old Oni Skip Pepe in Arlington, Texas. According to reports, Tay-K beat Pepe unconscious and stole his wallet and car. No criminal charges were filed due to his existing lengthy sentences, but a civil lawsuit was initiated by Pepe. What makes Tay-K's case particularly chilling is how he turned his violent crimes into art. His breakout hit The Race was recorded while he was on the run from law enforcement, with lyrics that boasted about his fugitive status and criminal acts. The music video, showing Tay-K with a handgun next to his wanted poster, was later used as evidence in his trials. Even while incarcerated, Tay-K has continued to exhibit violent behavior. Reports indicate he has been involved in fights, made threats against staff and inmates, and possessed contraband such as cell phones and weapons. This led to his transfer to a maximum security facility in Texas, further solidifying his dangerous reputation. 6ix9ine. 6ix9ine didn't just rap about gang life, he financed it, orchestrated hits, and then snitched on everyone when the heat came down. Born Daniel Hernandez, his rainbow hair and face tattoos masked a violent criminal who used his music career to fund gang activities across multiple states. In June 2018, 6ix9ine admitted to ordering and paying $20,000 for a shooting targeting rapper Chief Keef in New York City. During his court appearance, he stated, "On or about June 2nd, 2018, in furtherance of 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods of the 9 Trey Enterprise, I paid a person to shoot at a rival member of 9 Trey to scare him. This wasn't just talk. This was a calculated hit that could have ended in murder." As a member of the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods, 6ix9ine provided financial support for their activities, including funds for firearms. Police and prosecutors described him as a cash cow for the Bloods, using his fame and wealth to further their criminal enterprises. In July 2018, a shooting in Brooklyn tied to 9 Trey activities 6ix9ine supported financially resulted in an innocent bystander being wounded. The violence wasn't limited to organized organized hits. In April 2018, 6ix9ine and associates allegedly robbed a rival rapper at gunpoint in Manhattan, with the incident being filmed. He was sued in December 2020 for his role in the armed robbery. That same month, a shooting occurred at the Barclays Center involving 6ix9ine's entourage and rapper Casanova's group, but 6ix9ine's most dangerous moment came in July 2018 when he was kidnapped, pistol whipped, and robbed by 3 armed assailants in Brooklyn, including 9 Trey member Anthony Harv Ellison. Ellison was later found guilty for the kidnapping, showing how the violence 6ix9ine helped finance eventually turned on him. When federal authorities arrested him in November 2018 on racketeering charges, facing up to 47 years in prison, 6ix9ine turned state's witness. His testimony in September 2019 led to convictions of gang leaders Aljamiah Mack and Anthony Ellison, but earned him widespread criticism in the hip-hop community for snitching. Suge Knight. Suge Knight wasn't a rapper, but he was the puppet master behind some of hip-hop's deadliest moments. As the co-founder and CEO of Death Row Records, Knight used violence and intimidation as business tools, creating an empire built on fear that ultimately led to multiple deaths and his own downfall. On January 29, 2015, Knight was involved in a fatal hit-and-run in Compton, California that killed Terry Carter, a 55-year-old businessman. Surveillance footage showed Knight driving his Ford F-150 and striking Carter and filmmaker CLE Bone Sloan after a confrontation at Tam's Burgers. Knight claimed self-defense, alleging Sloan threatened him with a gun, but this was denied by Sloan. He pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter in September 2018, receiving a 28-year sentence under California's 3 strikes law. But Knight's violent reputation was built over decades of intimidation and assault. In 1992, he assaulted 2 aspiring musicians in a Hollywood recording studio, leading to felony convictions. In 1995, he pleaded no contest to armed robbery and assault with a firearm, receiving 5 years of probation. Knight's business practices at Death Row Records were notorious for violence, with allegations that he employed gang members and used intimidation to enforce contracts. In 2008, he was arrested for punching his girlfriend and pulling a knife on her during an argument, also charged with possession of ecstasy and hydrocodone. Knight's most controversial connections involved the unsolved murders of Tupac Shakur and the notorious Big. On September 7, 1996, Tupac was fatally shot while riding in a car driven by Knight, who was grazed by a bullet but survived. Although Knight was in prison during Biggie's March 1997 murder, rumors persisted that he ordered the hit as retaliation. Bloodhound Lil Jeff. Bloodhound Lil Jeff may have had the shortest career on this list, but his alleged body count made him one of the deadliest killers in Chicago drill history. Born Jeffrey Lamar Harris Jr., Jeff claimed responsibility for multiple murders before his own violent death in 2024.
Lil Jeff came out of nowhere, actually. Like, I didn't know who he was until he jumped on the screen and he was like, I got 8 bodies. I'm like, who is this? Like, I ain't never heard of him. He just pop up and say he got 8 bodies.
Lil Jeff was suspected in the January 26, 2024, double homicide of Chicago high school students Monterio Williams, Monty, and Robert Boston, Lil Rob, in the Loop area. He allegedly hinted at his involvement in his song Ah, released less than a month later, with lyrics like he was screaming ah when he got hit, interpreted as mocking the victims.
2 kids got killed at the school in Chicago. Nobody knew who did it. I'm talking about the next 40 minutes, you will see Lil Jeff emerge on Instagram, YouTube, and that I did it.
Social media posts, including a now deleted Instagram story, suggest he boasted about the killings, claiming 10 hats, slang for murders, with the last 2 as graduation caps to signify the students. Unverified rumors allege Jeff claimed responsibility for up to 11 murders, though these claims stem from his social media boasts and lyrics, but lack specific details or official corroboration.
They said it. They said they taking hits out of Milwaukee. I seen Lil Jeff and them say it. Like the kids who got killed at the school.
Jeff's violent lifestyle caught up with him on June 8, 2024. He was killed on the 6,600 block of South Rhodes Avenue in Chicago while reportedly chasing a rival during a gang-related drill. Surveillance footage, widely circulated online, shows him being shot 15 times and collapsing.
And the paper can say he was hit 19 times in the chest area.
He was shot 19 times.
As a member of the Bloodhound Gang, also known as Brain Dead, Wiz City, or Drill City, Jeff was involved in Chicago's violent street culture. His music, particularly tracks like Ah and Bloody Family, contained self-incriminating lyrics that reportedly referenced real murders, making him both a talented storyteller and one of the most dangerous figures in Chicago's drill scene. Bobby Shmurda. Bobby Shmurda turned a viral dance into a gang conspiracy case that exposed him as the leader of one of New York's most violent crews. Born Aquil Jean Pollard, Shmurda's rise to fame with Hot Nigga was built on real violence that eventually sent him to prison for 7 years. In May 2013, Shmurda allegedly admitted to shooting a rival gang member during a recorded phone conversation. This admission was later used as evidence in his legal case, showing how he wasn't just rapping about violence, he was living it. Prosecutors claimed Shmurda was involved in a shooting outside a Brooklyn barbershop on June 1, 2014. After an argument with his brother Javaz, Shmurda allegedly fired shots, shattering a window and endangering bystanders. Surveillance footage and eyewitness accounts were cited as evidence. In December 2014, Shmurda was arrested and charged with conspiracy to commit murder as part of a larger indictment against GS9. The charges stem from the gang's alleged involvement in the murder of Brian Antoine, a 19-year-old rival gang member, on February 8, 2013. Although Shmurda wasn't accused of pulling the trigger, the conspiracy charge implied his role in planning or facilitating the murder. The 2014 indictment alleged that GS9, under Shmurda's leadership, was responsible for multiple murders and non-fatal shootings. Prosecutors described Shmurda as a driving force within GS9, alleging that his status made others defer to him. In September 2016, Shmurda pleaded guilty to 1 count of third-degree conspiracy and 1 count of weapons possession. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison, later reduced to 5 years with credit for the 2 years he already served awaiting trial. Even behind bars, Shmurda's violent nature continued to surface. He was caught smuggling a knife into Rikers Island with his girlfriend in June-July 2015, facing additional charges of promoting contraband and criminal possession of a weapon. While incarcerated, he participated in multiple altercations, including a 2015 gang-related brawl at the Otis Bantam Correctional Center and another incident in 2016 that led to solitary confinement. GS9, also known as Grimy Shooters, Gun Squad, or G-Stone Crips, was involved in crack cocaine dealing, weapons possession, and violent confrontations with rival gangs. Shmurda's role as a leader in this organization made him responsible for the violence that flowed from their operations. But the deadliest element isn't what happens next. It's about how young talent can spiral into organized violence, leading us to examine another case where musical success masked sinister criminal enterprises. NBA Youngboy. NBA Youngboy didn't just come from the streets of Baton Rouge. He brought the war with him everywhere he went. Born Kentrell Deshaun Galden, Youngboy's music career has been one long chronicle of violence, shootings, and bodies dropping in his wake. On November 2, 2016, Youngboy was arrested for a drive-by shooting in Baton Rouge's Kentucky Street. He allegedly fired multiple shots from a vehicle, hitting a passenger in the neck. Initially charged with 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder, he pleaded guilty to aggravated assault with a firearm in August 2017. In February 2018, hotel surveillance footage in Waycross, Georgia, captured Youngboy assaulting his then-girlfriend, Janya Jackson, shoving her to the ground and dragging her into a room. The incident showed his violent tendencies extended beyond street conflicts to domestic abuse. But Youngboy's deadliest moment came in May 2019. On May 12, 2019, Youngboy and his entourage were targeted in a shootout outside the Trump International Hotel in Miami. His girlfriend was shot in the shoulder, and legally armed members of his entourage returned fire, killing a bystander, a Hertz rental car employee. While police deemed his group's actions self-defense, an innocent man was dead because of the violence that follows Youngboy everywhere. Youngboy's associate, DeAndre Fields, was indicted in January 2021 for the 2017 murder of rival Baton Rouge rapper G Money, Garrett Burton. The feud between Youngboy's Never Broke Again NBA gang and Burton's Top Boy Gorilla TBG gang was cited as a motive. Police and the FBI identified Youngboy as the leader of the NBA gang, a violent Baton Rouge group involved in drug trafficking and gun violence. The gang was implicated in the 2020 Chippewa Street arrest, where members of NBA and Bottom Boy Gorilla, BBG, were detained with drugs and firearms. In April 2024, Youngboy was arrested in Utah on 63 charges, including prescription drug fraud, identity fraud, forgery, and weapons possession. Prosecutors accused him of leading a drug ring while on house arrest. He was sentenced to 23 months in prison, 5 years of probation, and a $225,000 fine. However, on May 29, 2025, he was granted a presidential pardon by Donald Trump. What makes Youngboy particularly deadly is how his violent lifestyle spreads like a virus, infecting everyone around him and leaving bodies in its wake wherever he goes. Chief Keef. Chief Keef didn't invent drill music, but he weaponized it, turning Chicago's Southside violence into a soundtrack that inspired a generation of killers. Born Keith Farrell Cozart, Keef's influence goes beyond music. His beef sparked murders, his presence triggered shootings, and his lifestyle became a blueprint for deadly behavior. In September 2012, rival rapper Joseph Lil Jojo Coleman was killed in a drive-by shooting. Keef was investigated after he mocked Coleman's death on Twitter with the message, "It's sad cuz that JoJo wanted to be just like us. Elmau. Coleman's mother accused Keith of orchestrating the murder, alleging he paid for it, but no charges were filed due to insufficient evidence. The violence around Keith wasn't limited to his enemies. On July 11, 2015, Marvin Carr, known as Capo, a member of Keith's Glow Gang, was killed in a drive-by shooting in Chicago. The same incident also resulted in the death of 13-month-old Dylan Harris, struck by the vehicle involved, showing how the violence connected to Keith claims innocent lives. On June 2, 2018, Keith was fired upon outside the W Hotel in New York City. No injuries were reported, but the incident underscores the dangerous environment he navigates. The shooting came shortly after 6ix9ine had reportedly put money on Keith's head, showing how drill beef translates into real-world assassination attempts. Keith is a member or affiliate of the Black Disciples, a prominent Chicago street gang known for its involvement in drug trafficking and violence. He founded Glow Gang, Glory Boys Entertainment, a collective of rappers and associates often linked to his gang affiliations. What makes Chief Keef particularly deadly isn't just his own actions, but his influence. He became the godfather of drill music, inspiring countless young rappers to document their own violence in lyrics. The drill movement he pioneered has been linked to numerous murders across Chicago, making him indirectly responsible for a generation of violence. In September 2021, another Glow Gang member, 600 Boss Moo, died in a murder suicide. And in August 2020, drill rapper FBG Duck was murdered, with ties to gang rivalries Keef is part of. The body count connected to Keef's world continues to rise, even as he's moved away from Chicago. Lil Loaded. Lil Loaded's deadly reputation came from one tragic night that ended with his best friend dead and his own life spiraling towards suicide. Born Deshaun Maurice Robertson, Loaded's brief career was defined by violence, legal troubles, and an ending that shocked the hip-hop world. On October 25, 2020, Lil Loaded allegedly shot and killed 18-year-old Khalil Walker, a close friend, with a rifle while recording a music video in Dallas. According to a police affidavit, Loaded, Walker, and witness Cameron Walker were outside Khalil's house when 2 shots were fired. Khalil's sister, Keija, found him with a torso wound and saw a video on Loaded's phone showing him shooting Khalil. Loaded and Cameron drove Khalil to a hospital, where he died 2 hours later. Loaded turned himself in on November 9, 2020, initially charged with murder. In March 2021, he was indicted on a lesser manslaughter charge, with a court date set for June 1, 2021. But Loaded never made it to court. On May 31, 2021, one day before his court appearance, he died by at age 20. His death was reportedly due to relationship issues and the stress of the pending case. In summer 2020, Loaded was shot and appeared on Instagram Live from a hospital bed, captioning it, "Your boy done got shot," indicating he survived a violent attack. This incident showed that violence was already a part of his life before the deadly shooting of his friend. What makes Loaded's case particularly tragic is how it represents the cycle of violence that consumes young artists. His songs like Gang Unit with YG glorified gang life and violence, drawing criticism for promoting a dangerous lifestyle. The irony is that the violence he rapped about eventually claimed both his friend's life and his own. Loaded's story serves as a cautionary tale about how the line between artistic expression and real-world violence can blur, leading to deadly consequences for everyone involved. Tupac Shakur. Tupac Shakur's deadly reputation comes not from being a killer, but from being a magnet for violence that ultimately claimed his own life. Born Lasan Parish Crooks, Tupac's brief but explosive career was marked by shootings, legal battles, and a violent death that remains one of hip-hop's most infamous murders. On August 22, 1992, during a concert altercation in Marin City, California, a stray bullet from a shootout involving Tupac's entourage killed 6-year-old Qaid Walker Teal. Tupac was not the shooter, but was present, and the incident highlighted the dangerous environment he often found himself in. The boy's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Tupac, which was settled out of court for $300,000 in 1996. On October 31, 1993, Tupac shot 2 off-duty police officers, Mark and Scott Whitwell, in Atlanta. He claimed self-defense, asserting the officers were harassing him and his group while intoxicated. The charges were later dropped after evidence supported his claim, but the incident showed Tupac's willingness to use violence when he felt threatened. On November 30, 1994, Tupac was ambushed and shot 5 times in the lobby of Quad Studios in Manhattan, surviving the attack. He accused the Notorious Big and Sean Puffy Combs of orchestrating it, though no evidence substantiated these claims. This incident deepened the East Coast-West Coast rap feud and heightened Tupac's paranoia. In November 1993, Tupac was accused of sexually assaulting a woman in a hotel room. He was convicted of first-degree sexual abuse in February 1995 and sentenced to 1.5 to 4.5 years in prison. He served 8 months before being released on bail, pending appeal in October 1995. Tupac's deadliest moment came on September 7, 1996. Hours before his murder, Tupac and his entourage assaulted Orlando Anderson in the MGM Grand Lobby in Las Vegas, an event captured on video. This altercation is widely believed to have been the catalyst for the drive-by shooting that killed him later that night. On September 7, 1996, Tupac was fatally shot in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas while riding in a car with Death Row Records CEO Suge Knight. He was hit 4 times and died 6 days later on September 13, 1996, at University Medical Center. In September 2023, Dwayne Keffy D. Davis was arrested and charged with murder for orchestrating the attack. What made Tupac deadly wasn't his capacity for violence, but his ability to attract it. His music and public persona often embraced the thug life, with lyrics glorifying violence and conflict. This combination of artistic expression and real-world danger made him both a cultural icon and a cautionary tale about the intersection of fame and street life. The Notorious Big Gus's deadly reputation comes from his involvement in violent incidents and the unsolved murder that ended his life. Born Christopher George Latore Wallace, Biggie's career was marked by assaults, legal troubles, and connections to the violent East Coast-West Coast rap feud that defined 1990s hip-hop. On March 23, 1996, outside a Manhattan nightclub, Biggie and a friend, Damian Butler, chased 2 autograph-seeking fans, smashed their taxi windows with a baseball bat, and punched one fan. Arrested for assault, criminal mischief, and weapon possession, he pleaded guilty to second-degree harassment and was sentenced to 100 hours of community service. Following a dispute in May 1995, Biggie and his entourage beat a friend of a concert promoter, leading to a civil lawsuit. In January 1997, he was ordered to pay $41,000 in damages and faced criminal assault charges, which remained unresolved at his death. Lil' Kim, his then-girlfriend, described their relationship as very violent in an interview, corroborating an incident where Biggie pulled a gun on her at a studio session, witnessed by Jermaine Dupri. This revealed a pattern of domestic violence that extended beyond street conflicts. Biggie's music often glorified violence, with tracks like Long Kiss Goodnight and Bleed depicting crime and retribution. While artistic, these lyrics contributed to his image as a figure associated with violence and street credibility. On March 9, 1997, Biggie was killed in a drive-by shooting in Los Angeles at age 24 after leaving a party at the Peterson Automotive Museum. The case remains unsolved, with theories implicating Southside Crips gang members, corrupt LAPD officers, or Suge Knight in retaliation for Tupac's death. Despite investigations, including a 2006 LAPD task force, no one has been charged. Biggie's role in the East Coast-West Coast rap feud was central to the violence that consumed hip-hop in the mid-1990s. His rivalry with Tupac Shakur escalated after the 1994 Quad Studios shooting, where both were present. The feud dominated hip-hop headlines until both artists' deaths, representing one of the deadliest periods in rap history. What made Biggie deadly was his position at the center of hip-hop's most violent era. His music reflected street realities, his personal life included violent incidents, and his death marked the culmination of a feud that claimed 2 of rap's biggest stars. His unsolved murder continues to symbolize the deadly consequences of mixing art with street credibility. Sean Diddy Combs didn't just build Bad Boy Records. He allegedly built a criminal empire that spans decades of violence and exploitation. This ain't about his Grammy wins or his business ventures. This is about the dark legacy that makes him one of the deadliest figures in hip-hop history. The violence started early in Diddy's career. In 1991, a charity event he promoted led to a stampede that killed 9 people and injured nearly 30. No criminal charges were filed, but the families of the victims came for him in civil court. This was just the beginning of a pattern that would define his entire career. Death and violence following in his wake. But the real deadly reputation comes from what happened behind closed doors. Multiple lawsuits, including one from ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, accused him of sex trafficking and physical abuse over their decade-long relationship. The lawsuit detailed how he allegedly coerced her into sexual acts with others during freak-offs, drugged her, and physically assaulted her. Hotel surveillance footage from 2016 captured one such assault, providing undeniable evidence of his violent nature. By October 2024, Diddy faced at least 10 civil lawsuits from women and men alleging sexual assault and abuse dating back to the 1990s. Over 100 additional lawsuits were announced in October 2024, painting a picture of systematic abuse spanning decades. In September 2024, federal authorities arrested him on charges of trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. If convicted, he faces up to life in prison. As of June 2025, his trial continues, with prosecutors painting him as the head of a criminal enterprise that used violence and intimidation to control victims. The streets remember other incidents too. The 1999 Club New York shooting where 3 people were injured, and a 2015 UCLA altercation where he allegedly used a kettlebell as a weapon. Each time, his money and power seem to shield him from consequences. But the violence that surrounds Diddy goes beyond his personal actions. It's about the culture of fear and intimidation he allegedly created. Former associates speak of threats, violence, and a systematic campaign to silence anyone who dared speak out against his empire. This is what makes Diddy truly deadly. Not just the violence he allegedly committed, but the atmosphere of terror he created around him. That's a wrap, guys. If you enjoyed the clip and would want more of such content, please click on the card showing on the screen.